Hello, Clementich9 here, another Topic of the Week video. And this week I'll be talking about Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom. This week's topic was submitted by Tumblr anon, and their topic is, what about Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom did you love? What did Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom do better than the original Jurassic World? Now, I just saw Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom yesterday with Adrian, and we actually liked the movie. I actually really enjoyed the movie. I wasn't really getting my hopes up too much, because even though I liked the original Jurassic World, experience tells me to temper my expectations for sequels. But I thought that Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom did a fine job as a sequel. And in a lot of ways, I think I enjoyed it more than the first Jurassic World. Now, what it did better, well, I think there are a few things. Now, it's been a couple of years since I've actually seen Jurassic World, because I'm not like a huge Jurassic Park fan, so I don't watch all the movies a lot, but I do remember from when I watched it that Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom had I liked the balance of tone that it had. Because on one hand, you have a lot of the more, stuff that's more typical of Jurassic Park movies. You have the spectacle, and especially with the effects, and I'll talk about the effects in a minute. Then you'll have, some of the more intense stuff and the scary things. But then you'll have a lot more of the stuff that's like legitimately funny. Like there were some moments in Jurassic Park Fallen Kingdom that I thought were hilarious. Which is really funny because I don't go into a Jurassic Park movie expecting to have these scenes that I think are funny. But they managed to pepper in a few of these throughout the movie that really sort of kind of rounded out the tone a little bit. They also have some of these more, of course you have the more serious moments, especially involving some of the bad guys. But then you also have these more emotional moments. And I won't go into, spoilers for Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom for this video, of course. But I'm not going to be spoiling a whole bunch of it because there are actually some parts that I don't want to spoil because, I actually enjoyed them and I thought they were effective moments. But I will say that there were some moments in there that actually made me kind of want to cry. It's weird, because I've been seeing this a lot, checking out what a lot of other people have said about the movie, is a lot of people did feel these, especially in some of these specific scenes that I'm thinking about. And I won't go into detail, because I would recommend seeing the movie, especially if you're a fan of the first Jurassic World, then you'll really like it. But I think that there's a lot of stuff even for fans of Jurassic Park, and even The Lost World, which I haven't seen The Lost World, but Angel did tell me that it had several references to that movie in it. So there's a lot of little stuff peppered in for fans, but there are a lot of these moments that were really great. And I thought, and even the stuff that's like the scary scenes in Fallen Kingdom, holy crap, they're intense. Like, I'm pretty genre savvy, and I know what to expect from a lot of stuff. There's a lot of stuff in scary movies that just don't faze me. It's like, okay, I know it's fake. But man, in Fallen Kingdom, there are some scenes that are just almost bedwettingly scary. And it's weird because I'm not usually affected. I felt the intensity of these scenes, and it's like the cinematography, the music, and it's the way these scenes are set up. They really kind of, sometimes I noticed I had stopped breathing because I was holding my breath. I'm just like, Okay, that was pretty intense. And even there were some shots that I remember from the trailers that were in it, and I thought, okay, well, I've seen this in the trailer, I know what happens, but then it's like, oh, this is worse than it was in the trailer. This is much scarier. Like there's a scene, I won't go into specifics, of course, but there's a scene that was in the trailer that I was like, okay, alright, this is kind of creepy and a little scary. But then in the movie, it's like, man, it's worse. And it's amazing that it's so effective that it had me and Angel run basically like, oh, it's like, okay, like we know the characters like Owen and Claire are gonna make it, but there were times when we were just like, oh, that was intense, and because then once like the tension was relieved, we were just like, oh, okay, so that was intense. And I really appreciate that they managed to do that, to really make those moments stand out. And it's not just okay, Owen, Claire, and Andrew, yeah, alright, of course, they're going to make it because they're the main characters. But no, it actually did a good job with that. And I do have to congratulate it because it usually doesn't affect me like that. Like I mentioned before, there are a lot of little references to the previous movies, and some of them are small. There's this one scene in particular that stuck out to me, and I want to talk about, especially since it's not really like a spoiler. Like, there's a scene where Owen is on the island, and he's walking, and then you see an overturned Jurassic Park Jeep, and it's specifically a Jurassic Park Jeep, not a Jurassic World one. And there's a shot of the side view mirror of, and you see Owen coming into focus in the mirror, and of course it says the objects mirror closer than they appear. It's just like, I caught that reference. And there are several other things, and other ones that I didn't catch, because, well, I haven't seen the first Jurassic Park in a while, and I haven't seen The Lost World, and so there are all these little references to it, and it's nice because these are little things that you would catch if you're a fan. But it's not like The Force Awakens, where it's just like, hey guys, remember this movie? We're trying to make you think about this old movie, and it just felt like they were shout-outs to the fan, which is really funny considering that Colin Trevorrow was involved in this movie, and he was kicked off of Episode 9 of Star Wars, where, he butted heads with Kathleen Kennedy and Rian Johnson, who they hate the fans and want to do everything possible to ignore them, and then Colin Trevorrow actually has, in the movie that he's involved with, there are actually acknowledgement of things for the fans. But one thing let me talk about this real quick, the effects. Now, I wasn't really bothered by the effects in Jurassic World. I thought they were fine. I mean, some people really hated them, probably because it looked very CGI, which I'll agree, yeah, it looked very CGI. And even the stuff where they did have some practical effects, they did use CGI on it. So a lot of people were, they had some issues with the way things looked, because people said it looked very video gamey, especially with some of the dinosaurs. But the effects in Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom look better, and you can tell that they listened to the feedback and said, okay, we're going to do this, to make this look better for, the people who had these complaints, and that's nice. And it's really nice to see these, see those little details where you can tell. They said, all right, we heard your complaints, we worked to fix it, and they did. That's something that really impressed me. Like, I mean, even though it didn't bother me before, I understand that it was a problem for other people, and the fact that they actually went out of their way to fix this was very nice, and the effects look very good. There were some of the shots looked very real. There were a lot of times I couldn't even tell if it was using any kind of practical effects or CGI, because a lot of it was really good. Now, some parts you couldn't tell, that of course that's CGI, but all of it looked really good, and it all blended together really well. Another thing in the feedback was the fact that Claire wears boots during the movie when she's running and everything. And again, this isn't something that bothered me when she was running in heels, because I've seen women run in heels. Like, that's not unbelievable to me. But it is something that, I do acknowledge that a lot of people are like, why would she be in heels the whole movie? Why would she be running in them? Why would she be running on all over the island in heels? But they're like, and even though, again, I didn't think it was that big of an issue, there were some parts where I'm thinking, you should probably wear something other than heels, but it wasn't as big of an issue to me as it was to other people. But they listened, and they put Claire in boots. She didn't wear heels when she was running on the island, and whenever she was doing anything that was, intense, you saw her wearing boots. And I thought, what, I really appreciate that it's very clear that they had made an effort to fix even some of the smaller, like the shoes Claire was wearing. They made an effort to say, okay, no, now she's wearing boots. All right, no, that's great, because this is another problem that's been affecting, Star Wars. That, they're not listening to the fans, and they're going out of the way to not listen to fans, and it's just like, so whenever they bring up an issue, it's more of a, just screw you, we do what we want. But in the Jurassic World movies, so far it's been, okay, no, alright, we recognize that you guys had an issue, and okay, we're going to try to fix it, even if it's an overall minor issue. And I've actually also seen a lot of people, even some people who weren't as big on Claire and Owen from Jurassic World, like them more in this movie. And this is actually one of the first things that I heard about the movie when people were seeing it, that they thought that the Owen and Claire were better written as characters. And I mean, I have to go back and rewatch Jurassic World to really do a direct comparison, but I really liked Owen and Claire in this movie, and even though they did the stupid thing where in between movies they break up the main couple and then they get back together, because you knew before you went in that Owen and Claire are going to get back together. It didn't feel as bad as I thought it would be. Like, there's no love triangle going on. It's just sort of they had some issues that they didn't work out, and then over the course of the movie they rekindle their relationship, and it's like, okay, they're back together. They're like, okay, and it's not even something like they focus the movie on or they distract it. You just get to see Owen and Claire working together again, and like understanding like how well they work together. It's like, okay, leave it to them to actually make something that normally bugs the piss out of me and actually make it decent. I would think that it would still have been just as fine if they had them stay together, but shoot, it didn't bother me any at all. And man, that's impressive, honestly. Like, you take one of these tropes and it annoys the piss out of me, and I'm like, man, I'm fine with this. I'm fine with their relationship, and especially when you just had them sort of like all these hints of them in the movie. It's like, all right, fine, good job. Another thing I really like about this movie that I think it did better than the first movie, was the plot. Now, the first Jurassic World was a bit on the more formulaic side of, first it's ooh, ah, and then ever later there's running and screaming kind of a thing, which, to be honest, it's the plot of every Jurassic Park movie. But the first Jurassic World was very much, built on a lot of stuff from the original. Now, they acknowledged a lot of this stuff in that they had built a new theme park on the island. And you saw the old bits of Jurassic Park stuff, and then you saw, okay, this is the new Jurassic World. And it followed a lot of, like, those sort of similar ideas of something goes wrong, dinosaurs get loose, yada, yada, yada. It's not that big of a deal. But, I mean, it really wasn't that big of a deal in terms of the plot, because, I mean, I wouldn't even call it a soft reboot. It's more of just it's using a lot of similar ideas, but acknowledging that, okay, these characters are doing things. Again, there's building another park, and then, of course, things go wrong. It's really not, as big of a deal. It's not like a shameless ripoff like The Force Awakens was. I have to keep bringing comparisons to Star Wars, because Jurassic World was an entertaining movie. But with Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom, they really kind of split from that. And from what Angelin tells me, there are a few similar ideas from The Lost World that were in the movie, but it wasn't copying the movie. It's like, hey, there are a couple things from this old movie, and we're just gonna, rework them into it. But it's not like a huge part. It's not like they're literally just copy pasting the movie. I liked, the way that the plot moved, and it's funny because you would think that, especially being a Jurassic, Park or World movie, that a lot of it would take place on the island, but a comparative of lots less time was spent on the island than I thought there would be. And I did like that, and it's like, okay, we're on the island, and it's actually really interesting to see the Jurassic World park overgrown and messed up and dilapidated. Because last time we saw in the first movie was it all looked shiny and it was all new and things had just gone wrong. But now it's like everything is overgrown and everything. So it's really interesting to see that. But then they spend their time on the island and they do what they need to do to set up the plot, and then they leave the island. And and I'm not going to spoil the movie. And I did say there will be spoilers, but I'm not going to be going into a lot of spoilers with the movie. Because, I don't want people to watch this and get spoiled from, the movie, but it does take place mostly on... There's a lot of a movie that takes place in this one location on the mainland, and it's actually interesting because they do a lot with this one location. Like, they have all these different parts to it, and it almost felt kind of Resident Evil-esque, like the Arkley Mansion, where you have, okay, there's this one spot, but then we have all of these locations in this one spot, and they're all wildly different, and it's really interesting because it actually has, it's continuing the storyline from the first Jurassic World, But it's very much saying, okay, we're not just making a copycat of Jurassic World, not making a copycat of the previous movie. We're going to be doing a little something with the story. And I liked it, and I liked seeing that. And it actually allowed characters like Claire and Owen to do more than what they did before. Like, we actually get to see Owen and fight, like fist fighting, like mercenaries and everything. And it's like, okay, yeah, that's cool. And we get to see him do more stuff like that. And him and Claire get to do a lot of this stuff, and a little bit more action-y stuff, but without turning into like an action movie. Yeah, I still would say a lot of this was thriller and suspense, just because of all the scenes with the dinosaurs. It's just, especially when you get into the Indoraptor, which is like the big, the new dino in the movie. When all the stuff that they did with that, and they tied in stuff with the plot, and they addressed a lot of the, stuff from the first movie, where, they were trying to improve on the Indominus Rex with the Indoraptor, and they're trying to change this stuff, and of course, sell it off for military purposes and stuff, because, Jurassic Park bad guys doing stupid stuff with dinosaurs for money. But there was this really funny moment where a bad guy was trying to lecture Owen on, he's like, don't you know that you can use these for military purposes? And then Owen is just sitting there like, nothing you're telling me is new. Like, cause what a guy I called douchebag McMilitary from the first Jurassic World, it's like, Owen's heard all of this before. He's not impressed. And in terms of the kid character, I like this girl, Maisie is what her name is. The kid character of the movie. I liked her more than the kids from Jurassic World. And, alright, she actually did have a contribution to the plot and the overarching story, and she was actually really important to it. So I'm like, I actually really liked seeing that, so she's not just the token kid character. No. There's a reason why she's here, and she's actually important to a lot of other characters. So I thought that was really nice. Overall, what I really loved about this movie is that it was entertaining. It wasn't like cynical. It was more of, okay, there's always going to be some bad guy who wants to do something bad with dinosaurs. So, I was just thinking, man, like, I like that I can just enjoy this movie. And it's not one of those brain dead movies where you turn it off, because it actually does introduce some like philosophical concepts. And I really think this is a movie that people can debate over in terms of some of the stuff. Like, for example, one of the biggest things that they do with Ian Malcolm's character, for Jeff Goldblum's, it's a short appearance in the movie. He's not in it very much. And he's not in the main story. He's just during this, like a Senate hearing or something, where they're trying to figure out, should they save these dinosaurs? And you have him going, no. Like, how many times are we going to have to learn this lesson? Bringing back the dinosaurs was a bad idea. And, like, he's kind of got some experience in the matter. But then you have people like Claire who want to save the dinosaurs. But then you have this, this idea of, well, should they really save them? Because they could cause damage. They could cause death. They have caused death. So, what should you do with this? And it really kind of delves into some of the issues of, some of the issues of cloning, of the ethics of it. But it's funny because it doesn't have these characters going on like specific monologues trying to establish, oh, what are the ethics of cloning? It's just it's just part of the story, and it's something that I think is more talked about from a meta perspective than something from inside the movie. Because this is just something that's part of the movie, but you can actually discuss the ethics of cloning and the cloning of the dinosaurs, and do the dinosaurs have a right to life, even if they were just brought back through science? And I mean, some of the stuff is, things from the previous movies, and it's something more typical of the franchise, but it does bring up some of this stuff, and I felt like the kind of stuff was more present than it was in the first Jurassic World. And I feel like this is something that you can get with people, and you can actually discuss some of the different perspectives, because they don't inherently demonize one side or the other. Because you have some people saying, you have people making decisions and you have their characters set up with these certain viewpoints, and some of them will butt heads a bit in the movie, but it's not like they're pitting each other in these specific debates over and over again. Like, you know, you do have Owen having his viewpoints, you have Claire with her viewpoints, and then you have them sort of, you know, they'll bring up some of the things like, okay, but should you really do this? And then you have them making decisions, which I felt like, with the way they're writing their characters, it felt like, yeah, this is in character, and even sometimes they might not go with their own viewpoints because they felt like it might be better to not to. So I really liked that perspective of the movie. It kind of made me think of like in like the Eric Nyland Halo novels, where you have some ethics brought up about the creation of the Spartan program. Like, sure, you know, you kidnapped children and turned them into super soldiers and brainwash them into being, you know, patriotic, you know, humans, but they also saved the universe and were key in fighting against aliens. So what are really the ethics about it? You have people in the books who have, you know, their own different viewpoints. Sometimes they change their viewpoints, like with Dr. Halsey. But it doesn't sit here and specifically say, this is the right answer. And that's kind of what I got from Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom. Now, granted, I'm not saying that, you know, Fallen Kingdom is some sort of deep philosophical movie. I'm just saying that these things are part of the movie. And it does a lot better than something like Captain America Civil War, and actually presenting different viewpoints that you can discuss. Mainly because it actually has some good writing to it, unlike Civil War. But I did like that, and I feel like it tackled a lot of that stuff more than the first Jurassic World. So yeah, it acknowledges the world of post-Jurassic World, and then it says, okay, then they're building the story from it. So I actually really like that. You can really, there's more to watch. It's not just okay, we're doing Jurassic World again. It says, no, this is actually a sequel. It's actually building on the story, and you get to see these characters again, and you get some new characters, and I did like some of the new characters, and I even thought that the bad guys, despite the bad guys being, you know, Jurassic World villains, I mean, we're going to be selling dinosaurs because we're greedy, kind of a thing. You know, I did like them, and, you know, a lot of them, they serve their purpose, and, you know, bad guys get their comeuppance, because, you know, Jurassic Park. But, and then, of course, it's sequel baits for the end, at the end of saying, okay, you know, there's going to be a Jurassic World 3, which we knew about that. I remember they announced this as a trilogy before. But I liked it, and I really enjoyed the movie. And I think, closing statements, I really enjoyed Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom, and I enjoyed it a lot more than I thought I would. I think I like it more than Jurassic World, and I kind of want to go back and rewatch Jurassic World, just so that I can more directly compare them. But, you know, I will say that for anyone who is interested in the movie, you know, I can't speak for all Jurassic Park fans, but, you know, from what Angel89 told me, she thought that, you know, this was something that she really liked this movie and enjoyed a lot of it. And especially enjoyed some of the emotional scenes, and some of it played a bit on nostalgia, but even then it doesn't rely on it. Like, there's this one scene in particular, and I think anyone who's seen the movie knows what I'm talking about. You know, it happens fairly early on, and, you know, it's something that directly references something from the first Jurassic Park movie, and it's kind of a sad scene, but it's still in and of itself a solid scene that is emotional without having the nostalgia, which that's a good thing. I like the story more, and I felt like it was a little less formulaic. And I mean, Jurassic World, I enjoyed that movie, and it's not like it was literally just, you know, it's not like you know, something like The Force Awakens where it was literally just going check my all right, that's it, and just throw it in. It felt like there was care put into that movie. And it felt like there was more care put into Fallen Kingdom, and I really enjoyed it. I enjoyed Claire and Owen as characters, and I think I enjoyed them more in this movie than I did in the last. But I'll have to rewatch Jurassic World to, you know, double check on that. But I just really enjoyed their characters in this. I enjoyed their relationship in this too, and I think I enjoyed their romantic development more than the first movie, which is funnily enough because they already got romantic development. But I like it more here. There were a lot of, like, really likable scenes with them. And they felt very humanized in a lot of ways. Not that they weren't humanized before, but I felt like there were a lot of great scenes with them. A lot of great scenes with characters like Franklin, who's one of the new characters. He's sort of a nerdy guy. And I've seen people complain about his character being a wimp, and I'm like, okay, but he's a computer guy who they dragged to the island, and he's freaking out when they're being attacked by dinosaurs. I'm like, yeah, you would be too if you were in his position. He's not Owen, who's been working with dinosaurs, or Claire, who's been around these dinosaurs before, and they've all survived before. Like, no, he's new to this, and yeah, it scared the piss out of him. Yeah, I admit, I'd be pissing my pants too if a dinosaur was trying to eat me. But and I liked I like these new characters, and I thought they fit in well because I was kind of wondering whether, what they were going to do with them, if they were just going to use them as cannon fodder, if they were actually going to do something with them. And I liked that they incorporated them into the story a lot more than I thought they would. So I thought that was good because it wasn't one of those things where it's like, okay, we're just going to kill off everyone except the main two characters. But, and I really liked the characters, and I like what they did with them, and they both these new characters did serve the plot. So, and I feel like they integrated a lot of these other side characters more into the actual story instead of it just being heavily focused on Claire and Owen, even though they are the main characters. So I think I've talked a lot about this movie and what I liked about it. But long story short, Jurassic World: Fallen Kingdom was an enjoyable movie, and I felt like it was a suitable sequel to Jurassic World, and a movie that I think I enjoyed a little bit more than Jurassic World. So, yeah. If you want to submit a topic to me, you can comment below. If you're on YouTube, if you're on Tumblr, simply send me an ask, a new topic, and then whatever topic you want me to talk about. Just make sure to follow the rules that I'll be posting down below. If you want to watch last week's topic video, you can check that out here. If you want to watch next week's topic video, you can check that out here when you get that done. So if there's anything you want to talk about Jurassic World or Jurassic World: The Fallen Kingdom, and I really want to know what your thoughts on The Fallen Kingdom were, please comment down below. And thank you for watching.